Hi, I'm Dr. Amanda Nealon from Oceania Scientific Services, and welcome to an introduction to data analysis in R. In today's session, we'll look at import and export of data sets and how we can set up our working directory and folder system to interact with R. Okay, let's begin. So in our circle of analyses steps, we're working between the question and the data set. This will inform what sort of folder, name, and folder hierarchy you'd like to put your data into. An informative name is important for your folders, as you'll be able to find it again based on your project. Let's have a look at how this will fit into our R script hierarchy. So we can have data from numerous places, such as handwritten notes, Excel files, CSV files. We talked about how this could affect your entire R script in respect to its length. The part we're working on in this particular session is setting the folder that we'll be working from and to, and also exporting a data set to that folder. In read.csv, we'll set the folder and import a CSV file into R. Let's have a look at our folders. The folder you're going to create today will be a folder which you can save CSV files into. There we are. Save CSV files. So that's opening Excel, creating data, saving it, exporting data out of R. I'll show you the code for that. This exported data can then be read by Excel if we chose, or a different program. Exporting figures and plots we might save in the same folder, and we might also put all our R scripts. For the output, we can read CSVs into R, we can view figures by various picture programs, and we can open our R scripts. Later on, you might make an entire folder hierarchy with different folders for R scripts, different folders for CSV files, different folders for where you're putting your plots. At this stage, when you're learning, use one folder. It makes it easier. It means that your scripts won't be broken and they're going to work each time. Especially this is important when you're getting started, to stop that initial frustration when you can't find where your file is or where your R script is. Let's have a look at a potential hierarchy we could use. In this case, I've gone to my desktop. I've made a folder called Oceania Scientific Services, so OSS_learning R. And inside of that, I've made a new folder and I've called that R. Now, if I was to change this name here, OSS Learning R, to a different name, this file path would be broken in our R script. So just for this course, it's important to, once we've chosen our folder hierarchy, just to leave it until you get the hang of R. Once you have the hang of it, you can change it as much as you like. Okay, so choosing a path, probably in your documents, is quite useful. Maybe calling one which describes these clips you're listening to and then has a subfolder of R. Have a go at creating this. This is what the actual text that will run in R will look like. Set WD is the command. We use these little quotation marks, and then we have it's in C drive user. Under my name is a desktop folder, learning R. And they all are separated by these slashes, which take note of the direction. If you copy and paste from your properties directory, you may have to change these directions. I'll show you that a little bit later. Let's have a look now at how to do this in R. I open R, allow it to think. Hopefully you're using your shortcut we've created. I have my R screens. I press new R script. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, I like to give some notation of my name, the time I modified the script, March, and what aspect of the script I'm working in. I've just pasted in our script we did last session. But let's have a look at step 1. Go Session, Set Working Directory, choose Directory. You need to have already set up the folder for this to work. If not, go back now and set up your folder. When you're ready, click here. On my desktop, OSS Learning R, I click on the outside of the folder I'd like my directory to be to, and I click Open. Now I can copy this path from my console. Did you see how that appeared in my console after I clicked it? And now I can paste. The reason I paste is it allows me now to save it in my script. Untitled 1, I can now call a name, and next session I can come back to see what was the folder called that I'm working from. Okay, paste, perfect. To check it runs, I can press Control and Enter. Lovely, it's running. Okay, that's how we set a working directory. There was an alternate way. Well, let me show you in the PowerPoint. There we go. You could press Shift Control H to go straight to the folder, to click on the folder you'd like the path to be, and then it will appear in your console. And I've given you some screenshots to this particular pathway. So find the folder for this tutorial, copy the script from the console, paste it into the top. Now let's have a look at exporting some data out of R. Let's have a look at exporting our fish data we made last time. So back into R. I can press Control Enter. It will take me to the first line of script. That was the silverfish, bluefish. We made a simple data set which just had 2 levels for factor, 2 numbers for numeric. Remember this one? Okay, and we made a more complicated data set. I'll go down to here. This is where we did a vector of random numbers between 15 and 25. We did 5 values for silverfish, 5 values for bluefish, and we made a data set. Okay, so we know how to make data. We may want this in a CSV file, so later on we could refer to it. Maybe we have another application we'd like to use it in. So let's use write.csv, open brackets. First we need the name of the data set we'd like to save. Okay, so I'm pasting this in, fish. Then I put a comma. Inside of quotation marks, call it like what you would like it to be known as in your folder. So fish, CSV. Control Enter. I've now sent this data set containing Y1 and Y2 with silverfish and bluefish written 5 times to my folder. Go have a look now to see if you can find it. In OSS Learning, I can go into R, and there my file is, fish. Double click to open and check it's all correctly being transported. There we go. Species, length. Well done. This is quite important later on. If you do need to export data, you could also be exporting your statistics or your analyses you've finished. So that's writing CSV. How about bringing it back into R? Read CSV. Oops. Open, close brackets. For read CSV, we've already set the folder path. Let's bring that, here it is. So I'm telling R to go to C drive, under user, go to Amanda Nealon, look in desktop, within OSS Learning R, go to the R folder, and now I'd like it to look for the file called fish. It's read it in. Except I haven't assigned it a name, which will make it difficult for me to call on later. Allow me to show you. I'm going to clear my environments and run this. By just pressing run and not assigning a name, it's run here and now only in my console and now vanished. That's not ideal, as you know. So let's assign it the name fish. And here we have a data set. Click the blue drop down. We have species and length. Well done. So you can now create data in R, write data out of R, and read data back in. So we could actually do our hash notation, export from R, great, and import to R. The main way these scripts won't work is if you haven't correctly set this folder pathway. So take your time, set your folders up, and have a go at creating this now. Okay. So now we have a script running. I'm just going to move me. Where we have handwritten notes which may be used to enter descriptors into R. There we go. We could have handwritten notes that we enter directly into R. And then we can write these, once we've created these data sets, we can write a CSV file. Alternatively, we can read files directly into R. What you will notice is that in all these situations, we are using wide data format. What this means is you can see species, fish species, occupies one column and fish length occupies an additional column. This differs compared to long data format, where instead we have columns called fish silver and fish blue. This is a less ideal data format for us to run our statistics, analyses and plots. It's not as logically simple and it may confuse you later. If you realize you have got data sets that are in long format, there is simple R scripts we can do to flick them out and get them into wide format. Wide format logically makes sense when you say statements such as, I'm going to use species to predict length. It's more difficult, however, when you want to say a logical statement regarding fish that are silver and fish that are blue. We'll talk more about this as we go on. So you may see in a longer data set, as we saw earlier, we have observations, which are rows, variables, which are columns. In fish species, we have one column which captures every species, although the date may be a replicate. Again, having a look at the different types of data. Some data can be in date format, others are factors, such as the name of the fishing person, the location the fish were captured, and the species. Finally, we can have a numeric column and maybe some missing values that could occur. I would highly suggest not to type the letters NA into a missing value. We can use R to code a blank square to mean NA, and it stops it becoming character by accident if you have inconsistencies with your spelling of NA or your cap lock little letters used. I hope you've enjoyed this clip and you can now successfully create a data set, export it out of R or read it into R. If you would like the scripts used today or any of the slides, please visit Oceania Scientific Services where they'll be available for download. Okay, thank you.